get over here. Welcome to my cheat corner, and you can tell it's a cheat corner because it's extremely ugly and extremely messy. I mean, everyone has one of these, right? Like just a part of their room where you stash everything that you don't know what to do with. Right? But anyway, 5 months ago, my friend sent this picture to the group chat, and isn't it just the most beautiful, gorgeous, whimsical dresser you've ever seen? I thought to myself that if I ever find a nice cabinet or shelf that can fit perfectly into this little corner here, then I would paint it exactly like that. And now, 5 months later, my wish has finally been answered. I found this cabinet on the side of the road for free, and I think it will work perfectly for what I have in mind. I love this little scalloped edge here, and I did measure all of the dimensions to make sure it'll fit perfectly in my little nook. And it's in pretty good condition as well. It's not very dirty at all. It just has some little tape bits all over it. I peeled most of the tape off of this side already, so it's looking quite good. Now to get started, I am going to prime all the sides I'm going to paint. And my plan is to paint this side, and this little backsplash up here. Now, I know that when I get this put into the little slot beside my bed, this side of the shelf is not going to be visible at all, so you might be wondering why I'm even bothering to paint it. And the answer is, hypothetically in the future, if I were to move the shelf somewhere else in the house where this side becomes visible, do you really think I'm going to have the self-discipline to bring this back out into the garage, prime it, break out all of my painting supplies again, paint it, and then varnish it? I don't think so. So I'm just going to future-proof this as much as I can, which is why I'm painting the side that's going to be against the wall. Before I start painting though, I thought I should do a quick mock-up. Through the power of Google reverse image search, I discovered the original artist is Esme Shapiro, a children's book author and illustrator, and it seems like her entire house is painted in this folksy floral style, which, jealous. But through her Instagram, I was able to find more pictures of the dresser in question, and I mocked up a little something like this. And now we can return to the garage and start painting. So I realized I wanted to paint the front panels here, there, maybe even these two as well. And it took way more work than I thought it would to wipe off all the tape residue on them. But that's all done now, and now let's get back to taping. I finally have everything taped off, and now let's get spraying. It's all the way over there. Oh, it's very noxious in here, but everything is all primed now. I did have a bit of dripping here. At least this is the side that's going to be against the wall, so you won't really see it. Now I'm just going to let this dry for an hour, and I'll see y'all then. It's time to do some painting. Ideally, I'd be doing this indoors where it's warm and people won't stare at me as they walk by. But even though the primer is technically dry, it's still smelling a bit toxic, so I don't really want to bring this into my room and stink up the whole place, so I'm just gonna be here in the garage. It's a little bit cold out here, but I just brought down some of my acrylic markers, and I'm gonna start somewhere simple just to test it out. Let's look at my reference picture. I think I'm gonna start with maybe one of these sides. Okay, let's do this. I'm using acrylic markers right now just because it's easier to bring down than my big bag of acrylic paints and water and all my brushes. But for the bigger areas, I'll definitely have to whip out my proper acrylic paints. I did think about using pencil to sketch out all the leaves and stuff first, but I'm going to try freehanding and see if that yields any results I like. What I like about the reference picture is that the paint this artist is using, it looks a bit streaky, which I like because that means I can be streaky as well, and it'll look like it's on purpose. Gives it a nice rustic look. Also means that if there's any wobbliness in my art, it's fine. It just adds to the whole style and look. My back is facing the garage doors, so if anybody walks by and is staring at me, I wouldn't know. Thinking, wow, what a weirdo, sitting in a garage talking to herself, but I wouldn't know, so whatever. Adding some variation of line weight to the stem here. We got our first leaf down, looking pretty good. Still a little nerve-wracking, even though I know imperfection is part of the appeal of this. Here is the first pass of painting. It's looking pretty good so far. I think it's kind of interesting that it almost has a watercolor-esque vibe to it. I think I'm just going to give it one layer, but this time making sure all the strokes are even so that it looks like the veins of the leaves. And this should maintain some of that streakiness while having some order to it, if that makes any sense. It is so hard to paint this last flower stem here. I'm literally already sitting on the floor, so I don't know what else I can do. I guess I could put the shelf on a table. Don't know if that's a good idea or not. I wonder if I can go over with some pencil crayon after this to add even more of that hand-drawn sketchy look, because I do want to get some more veining in there, but I'm just afraid that these markers are going to make it look too stark. Whereas with the pencil crayon, I feel like it's much easier to control the lightness and the color that you want. Alright, so I got the second side all done. As you can see, the middle flower is a little bit different. The red part here is taller, so I only had room for 3 pairs of leaves down here. But honestly, the asymmetry doesn't really bother me that much. I think it's looking pretty darn cool. I think next I'm going to paint this middle section here. For the bottom, there's no way I can crouch that low, so I think for that I'm gonna have to lean this entire thing onto its back. My camera is about to run out of battery, so let's see how much of this I can film. Morning. Battery was quite literally on 2% yesterday, so I didn't get to film much else. It's the next morning and I'm feeling nice and prepared for another day of painting. I've got liquids, I've got an extra battery, and I got my jacket on because it is quite chilly, but it is very sunny, which is great because it was originally supposed to rain for the whole week. You may remember that yesterday I was trying to clean up these leaves with the white marker, but it wasn't quite giving the opacity I wanted. So I broke out this other marker that I have, which has a stronger flow, so hopefully that will cover it much better. To sit on the ground for this. I think this definitely needs another coat, but for now I'm just going to let this dry and we're going to get started on the side. Same as before, I think I'm just going to freehand this. I think it'll be fine. Let's start with this flower right smack in the center. This marker is running out of juice a bit. Don't know if I have another one in this color. I may have to go in with some regular acrylic paint to make this more present. So I'm doing a bit of a change of plans for the bottom here. Originally, I just had some, wow, can you even see anything? Random foliage down here. But I think because of how much space we actually have, I'm going to do this big flower and the little tulips. I hope my phone screen wasn't too weird and flickery. This feels like something I need to fill in with actual acrylic paint because I feel like whatever happened to my green marker is gonna happen to this yellow marker if I try to fill it in like this. Just leave it like this for now. Okay, what next? So over here, it seems like maybe the primer didn't cover this area completely, so we can see quite a bit of splotchiness. Just gonna cover it really quick. Here's where we're at so far. After I fill in this leaf with proper acrylic paint, I'm also going to add veins to it so it's not just one flat block of green. Same with all the other leaves. I'll try to give texture to as many of them as possible. This is how the shelf looks as a whole so far. I think next I'm going to lie this down and then paint the backsplash and this little panel down here. Oh God, I hope that wasn't the backsplash breaking. Some more pieces of wood to prop it up so it's not at a weird angle. I'm saving the backsplash, just hang on. All right, this feels a bit safer now. I don't know what cracked. We can only figure that out once we stand this back up. Okay, time for this little, I guess it's not really a toe kick, but I don't know what else to call it. The bottom shelf facing, how's that? Let's get my markers in here. Easy access. Let me start with red flower right in the middle. I still feel like this pink isn't quite an accurate shade of pink. I feel like it should be more peach-ish. There's that toe kick, and now let's move up to the backsplash, which I think I'm going to have to paint upside down because I don't foresee any other way I can reach this panel. Big yellow flower in the center. Now for the leaves, viney little leaves. Now for the rest of this. See, the problem with my plans is it's just kind of scribbled on, but I'm sure we can figure something out. That's a leaf. That was a little scary. I'm not sure if this angle is actually working. And then just to fill in this end here, I'm just gonna put a little dot. Boop, maybe two. Boop. Okay, now let's do the other side. So I decided a little pink flower here is going to look cuter than two green dots, so that means later I'm gonna have to cover this with some real acrylic paint so that I can paint another pink flower here. Now that the backsplash is done, I think the only thing left we have to do is to paint the other side panel right here. All good. Doesn't seem like the backsplash has been damaged too much, although I did just touch the wet paint on the yellow flower. Looking at it from afar, I definitely think the pink down here is way too bright and vibrant, so I may go over it with some acrylic paint just to mute it down a bit. And also something is definitely missing here. I may add a flower and then just connect it to this little leaf here. And then I began work on the other side of the shelf. So I finished painting the final side of the shelf. Quite different from the other side. I'm not sure if you'd be able to tell if you can't see it side by side. I'll superimpose the other side over here. But like I said, the asymmetry doesn't really bother me, and plus this side is going to be against the wall. There's really no scenario where you're going to be seeing both sides at the same time, so you can't really compare. Wow, can you believe that? We're done the first step of the painting. I'm gonna clean up, and then later in the afternoon, I think I'm going to whip out some paints and fill in all the yellow flowers down here. That's the UPS truck. I wonder if it's a package for me.
Where should I put this?
You can just set it down here. Thank you. I'll bring it inside. Thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you for being home.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye. So it is in fact a delivery for me. Yay! New toy for me to play with. But anyway, as I was saying, I'm gonna finish tackling this in the afternoon. For now, it is lunchtime. So see y'all later. So I've had lunch, I took a nice long break, and now it's time to bring out the acrylic paints and start filling in all the spots that are a little too streaky for my liking. I'm getting quite sick of having to lie down on the ground to get to these areas, so I'm going to try to prop these up on some tables, and let's just pray that that's not a bad idea. Guess the question now is just if I can lift this up that high. I need to get some help. Okay, I got some help, and I've also brought out my acrylic kit. I know previously I said bringing out the acrylics would be too much work, but everything's already in this bag, so I really don't know why I thought that. It's time to get painting. We're starting with the yellows. So I finished touching up the greens. I even touched up these. I had some leftover paint, so I thought, why not? I also finished touching up the yellows. I'm just waiting for that to fully dry before I add back in the little circle in the middle and all the little heart leaves that I covered. It's getting kind of cold, so I'll probably wrap up my work soon and head back inside. But first, I want to try a bit of cleanup work and see how opaque the white paint is. I'll have some white and some cat hair on my brush. Make these leaves nice and sharp. It got really cold all of a sudden, so I have my jacket on now. Cleanup work is going great. I feel like everything's finally starting to come together. Not that it looked bad necessarily before, but I could see all the little areas that I wanted to fix this whole time, and now I'm finally fixing them. Anyway, I'm going to finish using up whatever white paint I have on here, and then I'm gonna go inside because, like I said, it's really cold, and also there's a Toronto Raptors game that's on right now, so I want to watch that. I'm starting to lose the feeling in my fingers, so I think that's a sign that I should go inside and take a break and collect my award for accidentally putting my hand in wet paint. See you guys tomorrow. So it's the next day. The plan today is to finish all the cleanup work and then bring out the pencil crayons, so that hopefully what that means is at the end of the day I can varnish everything and leave it to cure overnight, which then means that I'll be able to move this into my room tomorrow, which is very exciting to think about. All right, it's chop chop time. So the cleanup is mostly done. There's some parts up here that probably need another coat. While we wait for the backsplash to dry enough for one more coat of white paint, I figure we'd try out our Prismacolors. I'm gonna start with this big leaf up here. Maybe I should try the other side first, the side facing the wall, just to make sure I'll like the effect of this pencil crayon. Looking pretty good. Now I'm gonna draw all the leaves just to make sure I like how it looks as a whole. Excuse the sound of the trash truck in the background, but adding the veins in the leaves makes it look so freaking cool and finished. All right, I'm gonna go do this on the other side now. I also took the liberty of adding some veins to these leaves in the front. Using a yellow marker, I also added some veining to the big yellow flowers. And I also took this opportunity to use a light brown pencil crayon to dull down the bright pink buds at the bottom of the shelf. Yay! I finished touching everything up with white paint and let everything dry for a few hours. I'm sure I look super disheveled right now, but it's time to varnish this beautiful piece of furniture, and I'm just going to be using some basic crafting varnish. This one is satin finish because it's quick, it's easy, and this isn't going to be in a super highly trafficked area anyway. So I approve. See you tomorrow. I came down to check on the shelf and I realized that I forgot to varnish this area. Like, can you see that's the only area that's still matte and not shiny? Time for more varnishing. That should be good. I suppose in the meantime, we can clean up this little corner. Everything in that Baby Yoda box is not mine, it's my sister's, so I'm thinking I can probably find a new storage space for it. Empty boxes. It's just been sitting here because I didn't know where else in the room I could put it, but I'm thinking maybe I can stuff them all into this big Rubbermaid box right here, and then all of this can go up in that little crevice above my closet. I always thought that was a lot of wasted space, but now we can finally put it to use. Wow, okay, I claimed this box was all my sister's stuff, but some of it is actually my stuff. These are my super old sketchbooks. Our collection of Sonic Pez dispensers. God, even more sketchbooks. This box contains more of my stuff than I expected. With some help, I got the box up there. Now it's just the lid left.
And then all that was left to do was to return to the garage and remove all the tape from the shelf. And with that, we are ready for the final reveal.
Ta-da! It's quite cramped in this corner, so it's really hard to film like a whole reveal of what it looks like from the front here. I think as a storage solution that both functions and looks pretty, it's pretty darn good. Obviously, there's going to be some areas here that are going to be really hard to reach for me. These areas are blank right now, and I'll probably move these items around as I slowly get used to this new piece of furniture. It still kind of smells like varnish, so I probably should have left it in the garage for a little bit longer, but I was really excited to get it in my room and see how it looks with my whole decor. I really like it. I think it's really cool. This is how it looks when you walk into my room, whereas previously this was just blank, and if you look down, it was just messy. Now you get a nice, beautiful piece of artwork with some functional storage. Let me scooch back in here real quick. And there we have it, my brand new shelf. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me paint it. It was definitely a lot of fun for me. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!